to do with the episode. I said,
well, it's kind of a little, it's like a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
The Kennedys, you can't know.
Hey guys, welcome back to Two Girls, One Bong.
The podcast that's better if you're stoned, and I will just choke you near to death if you're not. My name is MacDizzle.
I'm Joya. You might recognize us from your favorite viral video, or you might have been watching our content for the last 8 years.
If you are new here, welcome. I didn't mean to be so aggressive, but hi, we're the original two girls. Oh my god. We've been making stony content on the internet together for almost a decade.
We've been providing iconic cough sounds for almost a decade. We're so excited to have you here listening. So
let's dive on in.
Hey, okay.
Oh my God, LOL. That I don't know what happened. It was because I threatened to choke people. They said, "Oh, choke."
Yeah.
Let's see how you like it.
Yeah. Let's attack your esophagus.
Oh my God. Wow.
We're so excited about something that is like new and happening on the podcast.
Oh my God. I know for those of you who follow me on Twitch, you saw me in much dismay a little while ago over the lack of sponsors for this podcast, but I'm happy and proud and just exuberant and so excited to announce that we do have a sponsor. And tell them who it is, Joya.
Hi 90s. We've known about them, worked with them before. We've known them for at least a few years now. And yeah, we love their branding and their products. So we're super excited to have them on the podcast.
On board. So stay tuned. This is a little soft launch this week. We'll have a lot more to say next week. But just keep that name in your head. High 90s, okay?
High 90s, girl. It's cold there?
Just like in the mornings, it gets a little cold. It is not June. It's like 70 degrees outside max. It's cold and like it was raining yesterday.
There's supposed to be there's an El Nino coming in off the Pacific, they said. So it's going to be like a cooler and wetter summer. So lucky you.
Great. That's why I
Oh my God, are you kidding me? You know how hot it gets? It gets so hot over there. It's going to be nice.
Depressed.
Yeah.
I need some sunshine.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Well, I guess maybe that does mean, yeah, it has to do with the clouds. But yeah, the El Nino is not going to reach over here, so you can come get some sunshine over here.
Oh, good. Well, I don't actually want your sunshine.
You'll get enough sunshine in 5 minutes.
That's Greg Abbott's son, and I don't want it.
Ew, that's so gross to think about. Oh my God, did you see anything about our attorney general getting impeached? Dude.
Classic Texas.
First of all, yeah, the Texas attorney general, his name is fucking Ken Paxton, and he's such a fucking piece of shit. He got impeached by the Texas House, which is overwhelmingly Republican.
Yeah, they said, get this guy out of here.
Yeah, and so it's now he has to go like through the Senate and get they do the whole trial and everything. But that was some wonderful news for me. I was very happy to see that because
Greg, you're next,
right? And fucking Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor, he's also so extreme. So
I would like to rectify our wrongs of last week and take a bong rip much sooner this time.
Yeah, I was about to say I changed my water in here. I forget to change my water in here because it doesn't get dirty because I don't use it that much.
No, but you still need to change it.
You definitely still need to change it. So I changed it.
I cannot grind up this weed. I cannot.
I think you might just be a weak bitch. I don't know.
God, Joya, what the fuck? Do you remember last week? When I was like, I'm not friends with weenies.
Yes, I do.
And that was such a miscommunication moment.
And I was like, why the fuck would you
like, what if I said that to you earlier? It's like, no, that's not what I meant. I was empowering you.
Aw. I also just used the rest of the weed in my grinder, so I might have to go get some.
Also, let me take a moment real quick while we're grinding up this weed to just encourage you down there who are watching this. Go follow the Two Girls, One Bong podcast page. We're uploading all the old episodes there. There's hours and hours. There's
literally.
Like almost 40 hours of content over there for you to go watch. You can spend a whole work week with us, okay?
Yeah. Oh my God, no, the whole work week. Yeah, dude, just unlimited unlimited 2 Girls, 1 Bong content.
So
like,
much
there's
stuff.
so much. So yes, definitely go give that page a follow because we are not going to be uploading on MacDizzle forever. So when you want to come find us, that's where we'll be.
You know what I mean? So get over there.
Dude.
It's the way she screams like bloody murder.
Yeah. Who is it, Mary Jane? Or
It's
Zaza?
Zaza has the worst bark in history.
That little biatch.
Stop! Rajul lives in the house. You do this every fucking time he moves. It's so annoying. Sorry. I usually mute myself when I say these things to the dogs.
We enjoy the full audio.
Could you tell what I was saying?
Yes. Well, I saw shut the fuck up. Wait.
Yeah. I was screaming so loud.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. All right. Cheers, Queen.
Cheers,
my
bitch.
liege.
Yeah. Ooh. There we go.
Okay, so we learned some stuff about the Kennedys this week so that we could share that with you. And god damn, I did not know they were such a large family.
I know. There is so many of them. Like, so many of them.
And so I did 2 things. I did my homework, all right? And then I did extra credit. Because Dev sent us the links for our homework, right? Which was like, learn about the family, learn about the curse, learn about the tragedies, right?
Yeah.
I took it a step further. I said, I'm going to learn about the conspiracy behind the murder, assassination as well. And I watched a full hour and 20-minute documentary this morning about it.
Hey, but it's honestly crazy because we talk about the assassination, which obviously JFK is like the most famous one. But the brother was assassinated. Like,
he was also assassinated.
Yeah. There was 2 of them were assassinated within 5 years.
Yeah, and
not to mention all the other deaths. We'll get all the way into it, but
we'll get all the way into it. So I would love to pack a bowl. How do we want to frame this? Maybe first half we'll talk about all the tragedies. Second half we'll talk about the conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know much about the conspiracy.
I know everything.
Okay. Well, yeah, I have a lot of notes on everyone else. It's funny, actually, my notes of JFK, I expanded them like after watching some other stuff, but he was actually the one that I had the least, like, it was like his notes were super fast.
Yeah, because he didn't do much. If you really look at like the scope of his family, his dad did everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, and yeah. Okay,
so let's start there. Let's start with his dad. Let's start with, where did the money come from? They were an Irish immigrant family.
Yeah.
They moved. I don't know if the patriarch moved here, if he was second generation or what, but he was just like a regular businessman. And then he was like, man, fuck this. I don't want to be a regular. I'm going to go to Harvard. So he went to Harvard and he paid maybe $200 for his tuition because that's all it cost.
Imagine being able to be like, I don't want to be regular. I want to go to Harvard.
I just want to go. Like, you can do that now, but you also have to be a fucking goddamn savant at whatever you do.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. So,
like,
but yes,
the best. You got to be the best of the best.
Right. You have to be a fucking genius.
Do you know how many people apply to Harvard? Anyways, so basically, Patriarch Kennedy Sr., he went to Harvard and got really smart and started like doing a lot of like stockbroker investments and things. And actually, in 1929, when the stock market crashed, he made money. He saw. So here's the thing. Insider trading wasn't illegal at the time. You were allowed to get insider things, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
So he was quoted saying, look, we need to get in on this before they put a law against it, because he knew that they were going to start regulating it, because there was no reason that people should be making this kind of money so easily. You know what I mean?
Shut the fuck up. And obviously they can't come after you after they make it a law.
They made the law. They're like, all right, stop doing it. Oh, and get this. So the SEC, who are the people who regulate everything, right? He was the head of it. They put him in charge.
He was the head of the SEC.
He was the head of the SEC.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and there's like mixed reporting on if he was like good or bad, because there were gangsters, mobsters who were like, yeah, we fuck with Kennedy. But then there's other people who are like, no, he did everything above board, straight and narrow. Like he was a good person.
So basically,
for regulation.
Everyone had something good to say about him, just for like different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what's crazy is like he made so much of his money from insider trading. He made like $15 million. It was crazy. And yeah, so when the stock market hit, he knew that was coming. He said, oh, no. And he made money when all that shit happened.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So basically he spent his money donating to Roosevelt, I believe was the Democratic president at the time. He was donating a ton of money to the Democratic Party, and he was basically setting it up so that his oldest son, Joseph Kennedy, because there's Robert, Joseph, and John. Because Joseph is the oldest, John is the second oldest, and Robert is the third.
Right.
So Joseph, he wanted Joseph to be in politics. He was doing all of this stuff so that Joseph could be that guy and become president. But then Joseph was flying a plane.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, so that's what everything that I saw about Joseph, every single thing said that Joseph was an overachiever. So he was like really great in school, really good in sports. Yeah, like just all around, like he was the promised one that was gonna like take the family to it. Because I did read like, dude, I did not know any about the stock market and stuff. So that definitely puts things into perspective. But I heard a bunch of the dad wanted like his family to be in politics. Like the dad had political aspirations for his children.
Yes.
And so Joseph, the oldest, being the overachiever that he is, he fucking enlisted in the war, which actually he probably was required to, but he enlisted in the war and he went to go be a freaking naval aviator. So basically fly planes for the Navy, not the Air Force, which was weird. And he completed a bunch of missions successfully, but he went on this one.
So do you know the specifics of why it happened?
Why? No, but I do know that he died by his own explosives.
Yeah, so basically
because they went off too early.
Those planes were like our equivalent to those bombers from Japan. Like but they were unmanned vehicles. It was like the first drones. They would land, they would take these planes off, right? And they would remotely crash them into things with a bunch of explosives on it. But they weren't able to take off unmanned. They had to have pilots to take the planes off. They weren't able to do that part unmanned. And so the job was for them to get to 2,000 feet and then they parachute out.
Let it go. Oh, okay.
They parachute out and then the plane is remotely controlled from there. But his detonated and basically just vaporized everything on the plane before. But too early. It happened too early.
Yeah.
So at that point, the father shifted all of his energy towards John.
Right. Which I also wrote down, like the trajectory of his life could have been wildly different had his older brother not been. Died. Yeah.
He might be
because he was supposed to be the one.
You know, like he really could still be alive to this day. Who knows? But let's talk a little bit.
Something funny to say, actually. Have you been watching the basketball games?
Which one? No.
Probably, maybe not, because Raj.
I don't even know why I said which ones. No.
There was Adam showed me this meme. It was okay. This is so bad, but there was this guy on Miami that like could not make a fucking basket to save his life. Like he literally was like shooting over and over and over and kept missing. And Adam showed me this. It said JFK if the sky was the shooter, and it was like a picture of JFK as like an 80-year-old man. Oh my God, I wish I could find that. Anyway, not to make a joke about someone's death, but it was a long time ago, right? So anyway. We don't even need to. I mean, there's more before JFK.
Oh, there's so much more. That's the thing. So I think the first tragic thing that really happened in this family was Rosemary.
Yes.
And she got a wonky lobotomy, we'll call it.
Right. Okay. Which I literally have written down. What does a successful lobotomy look like? Like,
does that mean to wipe their ass after? Is that the successful one?
I have no idea. I guess so. Rosemary is a daughter of Joseph. I don't know where she falls in the age, but she basically had what they called intellectual disabilities. They said that she was developing, she was developing slower than kids her age and struggling with learning.
What I also noted is that she had an unpredictable mood swings
as she got older.
Yeah, and she would sometimes act out violently
as she got older when she became an adult.
Allegedly. Yeah, right. But she got the lobotomy at 22, so she didn't even really get to be an adult.
Right. But I mean, like, they said they knew something was, quote, wrong with her when she was at elementary school. Yeah. So they sent her away to a school, like a special school. Yeah. And then as she got older, her problems changed and became more visible, they say. So it was harder for the family to cover them up. Mm-hmm. And so her dad sent her in for a lobotomy, and he didn't fucking tell anyone until it was over.
Yeah. And guess what? They fucked up the lobotomy. The woman was unable to take care of herself after that.
Couldn't speak or walk.
Like, imagine what kind of living hell that is, to be trapped inside of your brain like that.
Yeah.
And like unable to do anything about it, to communicate how you're feeling. Like, and she died in 2006. Like, she lived through living hell.
Yeah, she was like 85. Yeah. But also, do you think still, no matter what, thank God lobotomies are illegal now, but do you think she even had like brain thoughts? You know, like,
oh, I don't know.
I don't know if she even had
scares me. That's what really fucking scares me, is you don't know what you're doing to a lobotomized person. You literally have no idea. You can look at facts and data and say, like, oh, this is what's happening in her brain. You don't fucking know what's happening in her brain. Some people say they see Jesus when they die, and then they come back to life. Like, explain that. It's not written on paper. You can't see that. You know what I mean? Like, there are fantastic and amazing things that the brain does, and I just want to know what it did there, because it was traumatized, honey.
Yeah.
But
yeah, poor Rosemary.
Well, no, it's also, like, that just makes me think of how many other women were lobotomized for having a bad attitude.
I know. And I think about, like, they put her in a school, a special school, because she had a learning disability. Like, now we know so much about learning disabilities, and also the way that our like traditional school system is tailored to meet a specific need of a specific type of child. She might
have been a little bit autistic.
Yeah. And they're like, put her away. Like,
lobotomy.
Yeah, right. And I think we talked about in the royal family how there was the two girls that got put away just because, like, they were going to make the family look bad. Mm-hmm. And the dad was like, no, girl, you're not going to make my family look bad. Also, fun fact, there's a sister named Rose as well. There is Rose and Rosemary and one more sister, which I thought was weird.
So Rosemary, that was like the first of the tragedy. She didn't die, though. She just basically died.
Had a botched lobotomy.
But then, Joseph was the next one. He died at 29 years old.
Crazy.
And then Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, Kick. Her nickname was Kick, which I thought was so funny.
She died in a plane crash in 1948 with 3 other people on the plane.
And you know, she also, so she had been
widowed.
And she married, and then her husband died within the first year. But then and this is only 4 years after the brother died, that she died. Right before she got married to someone else. So she was a widow, and this guy was recently divorced. She got married to him, and he was a Protestant. So she was shunned by her family because they were devout Catholics.
And they're like just literally like one tick mark off.
It's the same God. Fucking crazy. Literally insane.
You're acting like it's like a Hindu person and an Islamic person. Right. Like, please.
For us, it's the same, but like historically, definitely. No, but I agree with you. It's literally the same. It's literally the same thing.
Y'all believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And God? 2 separate entities? Cool.
Yeah. They both have their own weird, like, in Protestantism, I remember learning that, like, they think they translate the Bible completely, like, literally. Like, it's like the literal, like, whatever the Bible says is like literal.
Don't eat shellfish. And I'm so serious about that.
Exactly. And then Catholicism is like, it's a little more open for interpretation. Like, this was
shellfish.
Written. Yeah.
Tattoos are chill.
Yeah. So anyway, she marries this Protestant and is shunned by her whole family. And she was traveling from Paris to the south of France to go, allegedly, go talk to her dad and like try to convince him like to approve of her marriage. And she fucking died in a plane crash. And her dad was the only person that attended her funeral of the entire family.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
crazy.
sad. Poor girl.
But then after that, John was assassinated.
Good old Johnny.
Shortly after that, though, go ahead.
I was just going to say that one of my notes on JFK is that continuously everything that I watched kept saying that he was like hot, good looking, movie star, good looks. Like he was like popular because of his, yeah. And I wish, if you're listening right now, you can't see MacDizzle's face, but it looks like she, she could throw up any second.
It was a different beauty standard at the time, all right? The men that were hot, the women that were hot, although Marilyn Monroe existed, so I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Timeless sexiness.
but
yeah.
No, I guess he's hot for a politician if you're like comparing him to like Trump. Everyone in politics is pretty fucking ugly, I guess.
Honestly, like everyone in politics. But I was just like, who the fuck? Like, literally, I have quoted movie star good looks.
LOL. Yeah.
LMFAO in caps.
That's how they marketed him and the first lady. They marketed them as like hotties. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. No offense to the lady. I think they're trying to force the hot card on me. And I'm not taking it. They can keep that card.
Yeah. I am not going to say anything.
Wife.
Yes. Good.
Sure.
Pretty for a politician's wife.
Pretty for Ohio.
Yeah. No. Oh my God.
Wait, you guys, I don't want to offend anyone by saying that. Let me go ahead and just clarify that I live in Los Angeles, which is the place where everyone alters their body and their faces to just be hot, and that's all they want to do. Other places where people aren't so fucking vapid and vain.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable in those places. I'll be honest. Okay. I feel like a fucking hottie most of the time because I have the LA standards riping on me in my head. I'm like, you don't have a BBL, you fucking fat, ugly slut.
You do not think that.
And so that's what I meant by that statement. Yeah. She's not getting free drinks in Miami. She's definitely getting free drinks in Ohio.
Neither are you and I, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm hotter than her. I wasn't I'm not getting free drinks in LA, Miami. I'm paying for my way. I'm paying.
But in Ohio,
I might even have to tip the bouncer to get in.
No, that's definitely not true. That's way too far. You definitely wouldn't have to do that.
But yeah, that's what I mean. She's hot for certain areas for sure.
You also went on an Ohio rant a long time ago where you were like, Ohio. No offense to Ohio. Like, I don't remember. Dev, I hope you could maybe remember. I don't know, but you definitely went on an Ohio rant.
I don't know what my beef is with Ohio. I don't know anything about Ohio. I've never been there.
It's so easy to fucking.
I just assume nothing great happens out there. You know what I mean?
Same. Good times. JFK was the next big thing.
Yeah. But then like 4 years in 1964, Edward Kennedy, another brother,
good old Ted,
survived a plane crash.
Weird.
I would not ride in a plane. Like, they could not make me get in a plane. I was like, well, my sister died in a plane, so I just don't think that's for me. But I also wrote her off and hate her, so maybe I don't care about that plane crash. Yeah. Maybe I thought she deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Ted died in the fucking plane crash, or not died, was in a plane crash. Yeah, right. But did his plane crash kill someone else? Or no? I know.
No, that was a different.
We have a thing about. Yeah,
there's a different accident. There's a different accident. But moving forward from there, he survives that plane crash. But then Robert F. Kennedy, which was like the third, it was
Bobby.
It was Joseph, John, Robert. Right? That's the order they went in age wise.
Yeah. Yes, Bobby. Robert is the youngest of the boys.
So yeah, Robert was I think he was like a governor or something. He was doing something in California that was going to get him into the running for presidency.
Yes, he had just won the California primary, the Democratic primary for presidential candidacy. Mm-hmm. And he was fucking murdered in a hotel
at
in
the
LA.
Ambassador Hotel.
Yeah.
He was shot.
I watched a movie about him when I was a kid. Like, I did not know that there's a movie called Bobby that's like just about good old Bobby.
You can't forget about Bobby.
But fun fact, the Secret Service actually expanded after that happened. Yeah, the Secret Service doesn't only cover presidents, it covers presidential candidates as well.
Yeah, so you know what's funny is during the JFK assassination, there were actually only employed like 200 Secret Service agents total. So in order to like really like cover and protect a scene like that scene that it was in Dallas impossible with 200 people. And now since that day, I think there's like 3,600 Secret Service agents.
That sounds way more, right?
Yeah. So they that day they were just like, yeah, no, that was a day that we realized we've got to fucking hire more, some more people. Maybe don't let presidents drive around, and the Pope drives around in a bulletproof thing. The Pope.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, dude, there's few people in the world, there's few positions in the world that are more polarizing than the president of the US and also the Pope.
No, yeah, so this one was Edward Kennedy who survived the plane crash. Ted Kennedy is the one who did some.
No, Ted and Edward are the same person.
Oh, they're the same person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, here, Tedward.
Ted.
So somebody he was driving in a car. Mary Jo Kopechne.
Wait, so he was driving Kopechne. Ted was driving that girl, Mary Jo Kopechne, to the ferry station. They had just went to a party, and he actually successfully,
right?
Yeah, she's like
a colleague of some sort.
Yeah, she was a campaign worker. She worked on his campaign.
Yeah, so she worked.
So he was they were at a party that he actually had to fly a plane to get them there. They were at a party that was like he was flying via fucking Martha's Vineyard or something, and then he was in the car driving to the ferry station, and he fucking crashed the car, and
he crashed.
The car went into the water.
Yeah, he crashed it into the water. It basically ended up tipping into the water, and he got out.
But poor Mary Jo Kopechne did not, and instead of calling 911, I don't even know. I mean, did we have? Yeah, we had 911. Whatever. Ted did not call the police.
No.
Instead, Ted went back to his hotel
and took a little nap.
Yeah.
A little sleep.
A little night. And then called the cops in the morning. Mm-hmm. And they said in something I watched that, it was determined that Mary Jo Kopechne maybe could have survived if he called the police, which is probably true.
I don't know.
But I'm also like, she probably was struggling pretty hard. Also, after this event, Chappaquiddick is what they call it.
That's like where it happened.
Mm-hmm. Chappaquiddick. Ted is the one who actually coined the term Kennedy curse. And also, I don't know if you saw this. There was a picture of him sitting next to Joe Biden in a court. And I'm like, was Joe Biden his attorney?
Was Joe an attorney?
He definitely worked in. Most politicians are like connected to law. Joe Biden, Ted Kennedy. And then Ted tried to become president, and it sure failed miserably.
Yeah. Well, especially after that scandal, more or less. They were like, why didn't you? Because basically after that accident, everything became about his behavior after the accident. They were all like, why didn't you call the police? Like, why did you go to the hotel?
Fucking
and valid
very
questions.
Fair questions. Yeah.
Valid
absolutely.
questions. But then 1999, John JFK Jr., his wife and sister-in-law were on a plane and they died.
Dude, wait, there's even more before that.
Really? There's more deaths?
Yeah, David Kennedy, he's the son of Robert F. Kennedy. So, dude, like so many of Robert F. Kennedys. I mean,
they're not natural deaths, and that's why this is weird.
Right. Well, so David Kennedy, son of Bobby, he almost died of drowning when he was a kid, but his dad saved him, and literally, his dad pulled him out of the fucking water. The next day, he watched his dad's assassination on live TV. And this became like addicted to drugs. Like he was had severe fucking issues after that.
Yeah.
And several non-fatal overdoses.
Damn.
But then in 1984, he died of an overdose on prescription medication and cocaine. And then Michael Kennedy, I don't know when this one happened.
Yeah, I'm at 1999 right now.
So that last one was in
it continues on to 2020. There is an incident as recent as 2020.
Yeah, right. So this is 1997. Michael Kennedy, another son of Robert F. Kennedy, is skiing in Aspen. And this might, I think maybe a little bit of this Kennedy curse is also like Kennedy
choices
privilege. Yeah. Because
flying in
Michael
private
Kennedy,
planes.
Yeah. Like, but Michael, he was skiing in Aspen, Colorado. And
as
he
poor people do.
Yes, exactly. He fucking was, this is a quote, tossing a football back and forth while on skis. And he fucking hit a tree and did not have a helmet on. So he died. And it was reported that they, like the workers had told him, like, stop fucking around. Like they had already been told not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow.
Now we're at the plane crash, 1999.
And then 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife and sister-in-law were all in a plane, and he crashed it. They said that he must have become confused in the air.
Yeah.
And just
I think they said, well, maybe this is other plane crash too, but they like,
because in a lot of these crashes, they're flying the planes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it Kennedy curse or like Kennedy stopped flying planes, driving the car?
Yeah.
How many car accident deaths do we have? One. Just one, and it wasn't
not even a Kennedy. Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Mary Kennedy is married into the Kennedy family. She's Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s wife. She actually committed suicide in 2012.
Oh, 2011, there's a Kara Kennedy who had a heart attack at age 51.
Oh, I have 2019 on there. Nope,
and then 2019, there's her granddaughter at 22 years old had an accidental overdose at the Kennedy compound. Yeah, and also Kennedy compound, they just have compounds. Like, and by compound, it's exactly what you think. A cult could live there and thrive. It's huge masses of property.
Yeah.
That they just own perpetually.
Yeah.
In perpetuity, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But that was 2019, 2020. Another Robert F. Kennedy granddaughter, plus a grandson. They drowned in a canoeing accident. They were aged 40 and 8 years old.
Yeah, dude, so sad.
This is so crazy,
fucking
dude.
Horrible.
And then,
so sad.
The last one was Edward M. Kennedy, but he didn't die. He was just born with bone cancer.
Oh,
or had bone cancer at 12 years old, and had his leg removed.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. Wow, not that being the best case scenario of the Kennedy curse. That's crazy. At least he didn't die.
All right.
I had some fun stuff about just John and Jackie.
Cool. Let's pack a bowl.
Yeah.
Tell me the fun facts, and then we can get into this assassination.
Well, this is kind of funny. In my notes, I have like I watched something that was like the scandals of Jackie and John F. Kennedy's marriage.
Yeah.
And it opens up with like
Marilyn Monroe.
No, it doesn't. It opens up with JFK was married before, and so was Jackie.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't married before. She was engaged before.
Well, they said she was
married.
Got
remarried after.
I don't know, but
whatever. Who cares?
They said they both had marriages before. I literally wrote down like, do not care.
Yeah, do not care.
Yeah,
not
literally. He also obviously was cheating on her constantly, like all the time. But it was reported that like
it's crazy that the people running this country have so much time to think about their penis.
Ugh. Well,
maybe that's why the country looks how it does.
Very well could be. Yeah, he cheated on her all the time. Yeah. And they said that she wasn't super vocal about too much of definitely still let him know about himself, but it was really just the relationship with Marilyn Monroe that was extremely concerning because Marilyn, Marilyn, and also Marilyn like could not be trusted to like keep a secret.
Yeah, Marilyn wanted to beat Jackie.
Yeah, and I guess they said that reportedly Marilyn Monroe called Jackie and was like, "Girl, I'm coming for your man," and he told me he promised he was going to marry me. And Jackie, I have written, Jackie was like, "Yeah, girl, okay," because she was like, "Yeah, okay. Like come on down, sure, try to fucking do this because it's hard."
Do you think the whole country's not going to turn on you?
Yeah, she was like, "Yeah, please come and take this from me because it's fucking miserable."
Literally.
But I guess like the mom, John F. Kennedy's mom, her name was Rose. Oh, maybe that's why so it's not a sister named Rose, it's the mom named Rose.
Got you.
Yeah. But she like knew that her son, probably sons, was
well, she endured her husband cheating a whole bunch too.
Right. So she was like, that's just like what you have to deal with. And she told her daughters-in-law, like, yeah, that's what you have to deal with.
Welcome to the family, honey.
Yeah, right, exactly. And there's also an instance that was reported that Jackie introduced, because the guy was fucking all over town. And so he was fucking a White House staffer at this time. And Jackie introduced the White House staffer. She's speaking in French because I guess she knows French, which is cool.
Yeah, she can speak 4 languages: Italian.
Yeah.
French.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
Spanish,
but
English.
She's speaking in French to a French reporter, and she tells the reporter, "This is the girl that's sleeping with my husband," in French.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, but Jackie also had her fair share of relationships.
I'm glad.
Extramarital. Yeah, me too.
As she should.
And then there's one like instance where they got into a huge fight after he got home from a date with a mistress, and they said like they were screaming at each other, and that Jackie actually went outside like into the street like in her pajamas. So this is like, that's reported
at the White House.
Yeah. And he called an ambulance and had her committed. And she was given 3 electroshock treatments for depression, quotes. And it says then after that, she started to suffer from depression. And she described that experience.
Yeah, having your husband give you electric shock therapy, that would make me a little depressed too.
Yeah, right? So she said that she described that experience as the nightmare of her life.
Wow. That's terrible.
Very, very sad.
Damn.
But she found love in a late age. Did you see that?
Yeah, she died being loved. She died with her man standing over her praying for her. He loved her. And old. They were both old. He wasn't like gross. He said, "I'm an old man who loves old women. What's up?"
Age appropriate.
I will. It's crazy that we have to praise men for feeling that way.
I know.
That's a sad bare
minimum. Yeah.
The bar is in hell. Cheers.
It truly is. Cheers. Ooh. Okay, tell me about the CIA conspiracy, because I've definitely heard about it for years. Like, yeah.
Okay, so basically, we're just going to dive right into it. Lee Harvey Oswald was a worker at this depository, okay? I don't know what a depository is, but he worked there.
Depository. I don't know.
And this is important because this is the whole reason he's implicated, is because he's a worker there. So he's a worker at this depository, and this depository is where the shots are fired from, right? Allegedly. And so they find this gun that Oswald had bought, and they so I'm going to talk about Oswald first, and then I'm going to talk about everything else.
That's the shooter.
Yeah, so Oswald is the shooter. So he, on the day of the crime, basically the police, like, the shooting happened, and the police were coming to lock the buildings down, right? And the police initially stopped him, and they were like, freeze, basically, more or less. He didn't have a gun on him or anything because he left all of that in the room, but he was exiting the building right after it had happened. And the employer who had let them in was like, no, he works here, he's fine. Like, that's an employee, he's good, he's fine.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And so he's able to flee the scene, and he leaves. And
Damn.
Goes to a movie theater.
Yes.
And he like rushes into this movie theater and he doesn't pay for the ticket. And so that alerts the person across the street and the girl who's working there to call the police. And the police show up and Oswald literally shoots at the guy, but the cop grabs the gun and stops the firing pin. I don't know how the fuck that works.
Yeah,
but he literally like grabs the gun and stops the gun from firing. And then they have like this whole scuffle.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was like a whole thing. So that happens. And then they take him into custody. And so the day that they take him into custody, or I think it was the day after, they were parading him around the media, you know, because obviously the president was just killed. People wanted an answer. People wanted to, you know, like it's just things were different back then. They just didn't have the same type of protocol and the things that we do now because these things have happened and we've learned from them. But they were basically parading him around the media. They were allowing him to speak to the media before the FBI interviewed him, before any of these people got to speak to him. He was speaking to the media. And so he has this famous line where he's like, I didn't shoot the president. I'm a patsy. Like he has this famous thing where, no, a patsy, like somebody who he's being set up.
Oh.
Like he's like the guy who's falling for it. Like he's going down for the crime. He didn't commit it, but he's a patsy. That's what, tell me if I'm wrong. That's the word, right?
Oh yeah, taking advantage of by being cheated or blamed. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. They're basically just he says that to the media, and so that's one of these initial things that come out. And then the next day, at the request of the media, because they were filming, you know, they were like, don't move him at night. We want it to be better for the cameras. Move him during the morning so there'll be some daylight and we can see. And that was a huge mistake. That obviously should have been a private situation of moving him from a jail to a courthouse or whatever it was, wherever they were transferring him. And there was this bar owner who was cool with the whole police department. He was like right next door to the police department and he owned this like strip club. And a lot of the police would go in there and would frequent the spot. So he was cool with them. And so they think that he was able to gain access to this police headquarters because he was chill with them. And he basically, during the transfer, he busts in and shoots Oswald.
The bar owner?
Yes.
What?
And when asked why, he says he just didn't want Miss Kennedy, Jackie, to have to come back to Texas and endure a trial. He thought like this would help ease her pain, and she was profoundly disturbed by it and blah, blah, blah. But it's all very strange. It's just like there's weirdness in the air already because now this guy's dead. He can't speak for himself or anything. But then we start finding out more stuff about Oswald. He had just like 2 months prior went to the it was like the Russian consulate in Mexico. He like went to like, you know how like they have, each country has like places where you can go for asylum.
Yeah.
If you're in trouble, and like, so like America has like the consulate for every country, you know, like we have American, Portuguese, whatever. So he went to like a Russian one in Mexico, and his wife was Russian. He had some weird ties to the Soviet Union. He had been taking meetings with people who worked in like the assassinations coordination side of Russia. So like there was this very, very eerie thought behind that because it looks like he might have been associated with the Russians more or less. And we were obviously in the midst of I think the Cold War had ended.
No, but no, the Cold War hadn't started, right? Because I don't remember. We were in the Cold War era was like the 80s.
Okay.
But we've never been friends with Russia. We've literally never been friends.
It's always been very tenuous relationship between us. So that's what kind of started to look like, but that wasn't obviously stuff that was released to the public. So the day that happened, they basically were like, he did it. It was a lone shooter. The case is closed. They closed the case. They stopped investigating it. And because of that, obviously a lot of evidence was lost. A lot of testimony was lost. Just a lot of really good shit that would have been helpful in proving what happened was lost. Here we'll get into the assassination portion of it, because I don't think one person pulled this off. I truly don't. I think it was something bigger. And the problem with that is if it wasn't just Oswald, that made it into this possibility of a professional hit and opens the door for World War III. You know what I mean? And so at the time,
Absolutely.
politics, they were trying super hard to avoid any kind of escalation. So I think the CIA ran with this story to fit a certain narrative that would protect the overall public.
So the idea is that not that the CIA did it,
no,
but that the CIA covered it up.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes,
that makes
definitely
sense. Makes a lot more sense, actually.
Yeah. It's hard to say, but officially, on the official report, there were 3 shots total that caused a total of 7 injuries. 1 shot missed. 1 shot was the headshot. Okay. And 1 shot caused 5 other injuries. All right. This single bullet, allegedly, traveled through Kennedy's neck, out his necktie, went through there was a governor sitting in front of him, Governor Connolly, and he got shot through his back. It shattered his ribs, came out, entered his wrist, shattered his wrist, and then lodged in his left thigh, where it remained basically unscathed. It wasn't dented. The CIA, or like whoever was running I don't think it was the CIA. I don't remember who was doing this. It was called the Warren Commission. The Warren Commission is this commission that was specially created by Lyndon B. Johnson to investigate the crime. And he basically told them, we need it to be a lone shooter. You know what I mean? Like, we can't have this be collusion. You know what I mean?
So were the bullets all the same?
So there's a lot of different things here. So witnesses there, even somebody who worked as a detail for the Secret Service, he was assigned to Miss Kennedy that day. He was Jackie's Secret Service person. So he was like, he ran onto the back of the vehicle right after it happened. He was one of the people collecting the brain matter on the back of the car. So he was like there when it happened. He said that he heard 2 shots and they sounded different. The second shot sounded different than the first shot. He couldn't specify if that meant 2 different guns or what, but he definitely stood 10 toes down that the 2 shots sounded different. This introduces the grassy knoll, okay? So the depository is basically behind the crime. Everything that happened from the depository would have been from behind. They were at a kind of an angle backward from the back, whereas the grassy knoll was from a little bit in front. Okay? Depository, grassy knoll. They're shooting from behind. Grassy knoll will be shooting kind of from the side like this. So somebody got the entire thing on video. There is a video of him driving and getting shot each time. You can hear it on the camera. You can see it in the footage, and you can see it happening. Obviously, it's very, very old amateur footage, but they did a good job with it. But this was also never released to the public. The guy who shot the video gave it to Time Magazine, and Time Magazine only released 3 stills. As opposed to releasing the entire full video, they only released 3 still images, which was bizarre. But
I mean, I guess like definitely keeping a video like that under wraps would be like, I mean, it's
important for investigation.
His head blown off.
It's important for the investigative process, but I think it also left a lot of people wondering, why are you hiding this? You know. But so basically,
yes, absolutely.
There was this guy, his name was Josiah Thompson. He's like one of like the granddaddies of researching this topic. He's really well revered in that community as far as like his investigative abilities. And he started looking at everything that the Warren Commission had released, because obviously, you know, that's public information. They released it. He was reading it, and he was looking at the still images, and he noticed that they had reversed the order of one of the images. Are you okay?
I think someone's at my door. All right, we should be good now. I have a sign up outside my door. Yeah, it says don't knock. It says don't knock or ring the doorbell, please. Like, and please. Yeah, I don't know what that guy's trying to sell, but he's trying to sell something, and he just knocked on my door twice. He knocked, and we don't normally, we don't get knocks on the door because it says don't knock.
Yeah.
And so I texted Adam and said, "What was that?" Because it was loud.
Yeah.
And then, it was anyway. He's gone now, and I think my dogs will start to calm down. So anyway, sorry, where were we?
The Warren Commission.
The Warren Commission.
They released the report of what had happened, right? And in the report, they included some still images that supported their theory of the lone shot from behind. Because if you look at this video, you see Kennedy driving. It's just sitting in a car, and he's been shot in the neck at this point.
Okay.
And so he's kind of leaning over, and Jackie's like, what the fuck's going on? And there's like a 4-second break between the first shot, and then he gets shot again. And on the video, like the front side of his head just goes, ooh. And he goes like this, like he falls backwards and to the right and to the left, like back into the left is what, and he slumps down into Jackie, right? And so when you look at that, it looks like if you're getting shot from this side, you're gonna fall that way.
The way that
right?
The body,
exactly.
Right.
You know what I
mean?
The
momentum.
So the way that the photos were released on the report, they were reversed, and you couldn't really tell because they were just still images, and people didn't realize that they were reversed until they got hands of the footage. But the Warren report had reversed the photos to make it look like he was kind of just to support their theory of him getting shot from behind. But there's also go ahead. Yeah, so it's super weird. You have to watch the video. It's bizarre.
I'm looking it up right now.
But he starts looking at this video, and he notices that it definitely looks like he's getting shot from in front and falling backwards. But what you don't notice is there is a moment where he goes forward first. He goes forward first, and then this thing happens to his head, and he goes back again. It's like this weird thing. So it does look like something happens from behind first, because he was able to slow the imagings down, and he was like, wait, no, I measured it. His head does go forward after this shot. But there's another shot. So I think there was a total of 4 shots. Officially on the Warren report, they only released 3.
Fuck. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I just hit the part where he gets fucking hit in the head.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to see. But it looks like it's from the front, right? It looks like it's coming from the front right, which is exactly where the grassy knoll is, which is exactly where there was a fence, and a woman caught a photo of a figure standing behind the fence directly where you would need to be to execute that shot.
It totally does hit him from the front.
It looks like it's hitting from the front,
right?
Right?
I mean, yeah, who knows what really, but like like you see impact on the front.
And so that was the theory that kind of Josiah was running with for 30 years. And then he slowed down the footage, and he noticed, oh wait, his head does move forward. So I was wrong. He must have been shot from the back and then just slumped to the side or whatever. Until we find the audio recordings, okay? One of the police cars accidentally had their thing pressed down the whole time, so it recorded the entire incident. And when you do the recordings, it sounds like there's 4 shots on it. You can hear 4 shots. They happen within a certain succession of themselves. The rifle that Oswald was using, the fastest it can be reloaded is 2.3 seconds. There was a shot that happened after the third one, like, I think they said half a second later. So far too quickly. Because there's going to be 2.3 seconds between each one of Oswald's shot. And that's if he's reloading, shooting. He's reloading, shooting.
Yeah,
he's got to
With that something, I mean, it's that far away. You have to give it some thought. Give it some,
Yes. So this person took this audio recording, and they tried to duplicate the sound. They tried to duplicate it by setting up different scenarios with a bunch of different speakers.
Right. That was my thought too with the sound, like, because it's not only the bullet coming out of the gun that would contribute to the sound. It's other things as well, like where the room that it came from, or the not the room, but the
direction it came from, the acoustics, everything that's going on.
Right. Lots of things could affect that.
So they analyzed it like string by string of sound. You know what I mean? And so they replicated it. They were able to replicate it. And the scenario that replicated it was, there was 2 shots from the depository, one from the grassy knoll, and one from this what was it called? A records building. The Dallas Records building. Yes.
Not 3. 3 different shots?
So
whoever hit the fucking first one, that missed. No,
it was not funny. So Oswald missed the first shot. He took the first shot that actually, wait, it might have been the depository that missed.
Yeah, that's where he was, though, the depository. 3 shooters.
That's what the acoustic test indicated, is that it came from 3 different places. Now,
have there been any? Okay, go
would
ahead.
Explain why his head moved forward and then from the side, because there was a doctor who was able to look at the autopsy records. So you have to get permission from the Kennedys to see like the real autopsy records from the day, and he got the permission because he's like this big hotshot doctor. And so he was able to take a look at them, and he noticed that there was a lot of debris, like a trail of bullet debris in the brain that is not there, that is not typical of rifles. Like the rifles bullets don't generally do that. They hit something and they bend and they get blunt, like, so, you know, it'll like push it down into a weird shape,
right? As opposed to breaking up.
Exactly. Whereas a hunting, what did they say it was?
Definitely shotguns do that.
Yeah, they said it was some kind of hunting rounds. So the rounds that Oswald was using, it might have still been a rifle, but I think they were using hunting rounds, because that was more indicative of the debris that he saw in the brown.
Gotcha.
Yeah, more or less, when all of this information was brought to the Warren Commission and all of that, they've not ever confirmed it, because if there was a secondary shooter on the grassy knoll, so basically they've come out and they've admitted, like, yeah, there might have been another shooter on the grassy knoll, but his shot missed. They're saying, oh, his shot missed, so like it's not, you know, whatever it was, you know. But if it didn't, that's more indicative of like a professional hit, and that's why they've never like delved into it and gone further into it, because at any point finding out that somebody from Russia assassinated the president, that's not good tea for the country. You know what I mean? But yeah, they did a whole bunch of tests, and they found out that Oswald's rifle could not fire fast enough to produce all of those sounds and rounds. Long story short, I absolutely 100% think there was at least, bare minimum, one other shooter on the knoll, on the grassy knoll, for sure. Because they also, the Warren Commission, the people who did all the investigation, they didn't interview hardly anybody. There was the guy who was closest to the car. He was like 10 feet away from the car when it happened. He was there with his family and kids. They like ducked over their kids because they thought the shots were coming from behind them. They were facing the car coming this way, and they thought the shots were coming from behind them, so they ducked to cover their kids. People reported seeing smoke lingering in the air in that area, like
grassy knoll,
on the grassy knoll. And that's where the police sent their squad at first. That's where they sent them. They said, okay, there's footprints, there's this vantage point, we think that based off of, and also the blood debris. There was blood debris in all sorts of directions. There was blood debris going forward, confirming that he did get shot from behind. There was blood debris going backwards. It got on the cops next to him. It went outwards and sideways. Like it from an angle. The blood debris went from an angle. So basically all of this just confirms somebody shot him from the grassy knoll, for fucking sure.
I'm watching this again.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Every time. It happens every time, Joya. It doesn't end differently. It's like me watching The Departed. It's one of my favorite movies. I just hope it ends differently each time I see it.
I don't think I've ever watched that, actually. But I've heard of it a lot. I feel like that's a classic, a very beloved movie, a good movie.
It's definitely a really good movie.
Wow, thank you for doing all of that research on the whole conspiracy of that.
Yeah, so I believe it. I believe the conspiracy, truly.
Yeah,
I mean, everything makes sense. Like, to avoid a world war. I'm not even mad at it. I'm not mad at them for doing that. You know, they could have tried a little harder, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the guy who got shot didn't believe that. That would make a lot more sense of a barrage of bullets doing the damage that it did, as opposed to just one bullet doing 7 injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, one bullet doing 7 injuries makes
not only sense. That, but like breaking through bones. It went through the president's neck, went through the governor's back, broke his rib, came out, broke his wrist, came out, landed in his leg. And not only that, I told you they did tests of firing rounds into cotton pillows. They did tests of firing rounds into cotton pillows, and those looked the same as the bullet that was found in the guy's leg. And then they did other tests where they fired the bullet into just like a flesh type thing, bent to shit.
I would love to see. I was going to ask you if there were any holes poked in any of the like tests that they did do.
Yeah. So the guy said the initial reason that he came up with the shot from the front, he felt like it was disproved because he also saw the shot from the back. His head does move forward, and so at that point he thought that disproved it, but it didn't necessarily disprove him. It just proved that there was another shot from somewhere else doing that.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I probably got some of the facts a little bit wrong, but that's the gist of it.
Okay, thanks. I'm sure it was close enough.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Did you know that? Well, and just to take the conspiracy 10 steps further and into oblivion, there's people who believe that he didn't actually get murdered that day, and like that he was going to reappear in that square. What is it, like Dealey?
This something? Is giving very QAnon.
Yeah, it's those people. Yeah, they like thought, and this happened already. Like, when was
Kennedy supposed to come back?
JFK supposed to return.
Was he Jesus?
Will return to Dallas again this coming weekend. So this is June 2022. They thought that he was gonna come back. QAnon cult leader Michael Brian Protzman has ordered his followers to return to Dallas this weekend for the true culmination of his prediction that JFK will return to the site of his 1963 assassination.
This guy is a troll.
Yeah,
he has to be. He's just trolling stupid people, and he's like, I'm gonna get everyone to show up somewhere and believe that JFK is gonna show up. That's hilarious.
He's gonna keep it not so obvious. He's not gonna tell us, oh wait, is this him talking about Trump? Shut the fuck up. Oh my god, we don't even need to get into this. QAnon people are completely insane, and this specific QAnon person, brought his followers out to Dallas. So anyway, that was very insightful. I hope everybody listening learned a little something, because definitely both of us did.
I sure did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what was our topic for next week? I wrote it down on the calendar. Pull it up.
One thing. It is current events.
So we will be back to talk about what's happening in this world, in our lives. You know, hopefully something interesting happens in the next week.
Oh my god. Hopefully we can go a week without something interesting happening, actually.
Well, I'm not saying violent, but like maybe we have a peaceful alien invasion. That'll be a fun topic.
Imagine we get to report back in the podcast next week and there's a peaceful alien invasion.
No, and they're like, hey guys, we're saved and we don't have to die anymore. They came and brought everlasting life and good credit scores for everybody. We didn't see it coming, but they did it.
No, good credit scores. Okay, we are actually missing one thing, and that is a fan question. Oh, yeah. So if you didn't know, we answer a fan question at the end of every episode.
We sure do.
And we are pulling them from the YouTube comments. So if you have a question for us, you go down in the comments, girl, and you ask your question. What is your messiest drunk story together? I know Mac ran into the wall once, so I'm curious about the combination.
Well, that was with Joya. I don't think anybody puts that together.
Yeah.
Joya was with me the day that I fucked my face. She found me on the floor.
I was so scared. Oh my god. I only had like literally 3 seconds of like, maybe not even that much, but definitely when I saw you face down on the ground, I was very scared. Obviously, and there's no way you could have like died in that like short amount of time. It was like, I don't know. I just
maybe that was just but in a different universe. I didn't make it.
Yeah, but then you went, and I was like, okay, she's good. She's alive. Yes.
Do we have any? Oh, so I think one of my fondest drunk memories with Joy is not really messy, but we were at this convention in Vegas called Champs, and we got a little drunk that night, and we just started walking around and speaking to everybody in Australian accents.
Like, which we're really good at, and probably both of us were better at it then. Yeah, because we were also practicing.
Like, I had the confidence of liquor, and everyone else was drunk, so they're like, "Oh, hot Australians, yeah."
Yes.
and so Joya ran into this person like the next year.
Yeah. His actually his name is, I know his name now. His name is Paul. He works at Empire.
Oh.
And I introduced myself to him like the next year, and he was like, "Wait, you're not Australian?"
He remembered that.
He was like, "We met." Yeah, like he was like, "We met last year, and you and your Australian friend, like you guys."
So. You just know that he doesn't know Australians because like it's like if a person imitates like a Southern accent, that's our version of an Australian accent. Like, howdy, y'all.
Yeah, like that's extremely like, overdone.
Hello?
Hello?
Crikey. Yeah, I'll always throw out a crikey too, which I don't think is very Australian, but I'm not going to stop doing it. So
right. How could you physically?
And how could you stop me? How could you stop me? You couldn't.
Yeah.
Literally, you could have your hands around my neck, choking me to death, and my last word would be crikey. I would use everything in my power just to disrespect you one more time.
Oh, I'm dying. That's a TikTok note. Crikey. But yeah, well, okay, yay. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, remember to share it with your friends.
Do that.
And if you don't,
I will choke you almost to death.
Yeah.
But your last word better be crikey. Crikey. If you're still watching this video right now, comment crikey.
Crikey.
Crikey, mate. That's a big one. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Current events. Bring something hot with you.
Yes.
It could be tea. It could be that ass. All right.
And it'll probably be both. Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.